Yo, what is up guys, your boy Saz here, bringing you guys a video about the best rogue decks for the beginning of 2018. In this video, I'll be talking about decks that are really good, but are not necessarily meta, and I'll be talking about OCG and TCG decks, so let's get started. The first deck I want to talk about is True King Dinosaurs, or just regular dinosaurs. This is probably the most strongest deck on this list, and it is deserving of that spot. Even with all the hits from the ban list in the OCG and the TCG, this deck can still make powerful boards. And even if it can't make a powerful board, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is just an insane card and can easily stop your opponent from making plays. Not to mention that this deck also has Danglong at 1 in the OCG, but even then, in the TCG, we're getting more support in Extreme Force. The next deck I want to talk about is Blue Eyes, or Chaos Max Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes is one of those decks that'll just never go away, seeing that one of the characters from the original anime plays this deck. This deck can either pull out a lot of damage or can shut you out of playing Yu-Gi-Oh at all. Even though this deck can pull out really crappy hands at times, if you can get past those weaknesses, you'll have a great time destroying people with Blue Eyes White Dragon. The next deck I want to talk about is World Chalice. Now, this is a deck that I kinda underrated for a while because I just didn't play against the deck that much, or didn't play the deck at all. After playing against this deck multiple times and seeing the deck in action, I quickly realized this deck is actually really good. Just seeing this deck pull out Firewall Dragon, Trigate Wizard, and all these other crazy link monsters is just absolutely insane, even with their little resources they may have and with all the hand traps floating around in the meta. Not to mention that this deck got even better with the release of Flames of Destruction, introducing the new Troymare archetype. The next deck I want to talk about is Atlantean Mermails. Mermails, being one of the most strongest decks from the Zexal era, is still one of the most powerful decks in the game, not only because it can pull out insane boards and OTK your opponent, but how fast this deck can pull out its resources and how the deck can make really good boards turn 1. And it really had a hard time in the past doing that. Not a lot of people are a fan of this deck because it's a one-trick pony deck, but if you can get past that and you like OTKing your opponent turn 1, you will definitely have a great time playing this deck. The next deck I want to talk about is Inferno. It's one of the most forgotten archetypes in the past 6 months. Infernoids are having a little bit of a comeback now in the OCG, but in the TCG, the deck is just not seeing play nearly at all. Infernoids is a force to be reckoned with. This deck still has a lot of power cards like Anunku and Void Feast. They're just insane cards, and people are forgetting about this deck still having 3 grass in the OCG, and in the TCG we still have 3 snow, which is a really broken card when you have a lot of things in the graveyard with grass. If you're looking for a very good but very underrated deck, this is definitely one to consider. The next deck I want to talk about is Fluffles / Frightfurs. Fluffles are one of the strongest fusion decks in the game currently, and it's because the deck can just throw out a ton of fusion monsters in one turn and OTK your opponent very easily. Unlike a lot of fusion decks, Fluffles can actually play around hand traps like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and Ghost Ogre, and they can also gather around a ton of advantage. Unfortunately, we don't have Patrick in the TCG, but still, people are still finding ways to make this deck viable in the TCG. This is definitely one of the decks that people clowned when they first came out, but over time this deck definitely got a lot better. The next and last deck I want to talk about is Cosmos. Cosmos is definitely one of the best TCG exclusives we have got in this game. This is probably the most easiest and straightforward deck on this list because of how simple the combos are in this deck. Even with the simple plays that this deck might have, it could still pull off a ton of advantage and still kill your opponent with fair ease. If you're looking for a strong but easy deck to play, this is definitely the choice for you. So that is it guys, let me know what you guys think about this list. Tell me if I missed some decks that you think is good, and I'm out.